From 2020 until now, every June we've had a State of Play or a PlayStation Showcase. An event where you already know the deal. Sony shows us the video games that are coming out during the year so we know what's coming and all that. Well, this June probably won't be the exception, and we'll likely have a PlayStation event too, which people are already talking about. Because there's always an insider who claims to know things. It's like saying there will be Christmas in December, saying there will be a State of Play or a showcase in June. However, insiders are already suggesting that an event will be held in June. So in today's video, we're going to use our imagination.
It doesn't have anything, it doesn't have anything.
Nothing is confirmed, but we'll use our imagination. And let's think, or let's analyze what we could see in a State of Play now, in 15 days. Make yourselves comfortable. If you like the video, give it a like. And I got lost. I've been saying this for 5 years. The phone thing popped up and I got lost. Make yourselves comfortable, like the video if you enjoy it, and get ready. Because that being said, and without further ado, let's get started. It's turning out really well for me. Huh, what a day. And are we talking about a State of Play today? Because the journalist insider Jeff Groove says that Sony is preparing a State of Play for June of this year. And guess what? He mentioned they were preparing something, but didn't provide specifics like an exact date or whether it was a State of Play or showcase. Well, I already made this clear at the beginning of the video. There's no need for me to repeat it.
He's going to repeat it anyway.
He's a scammer, Jeff Groove. He's a scammer. Sony has held an event for 6 years. I predict that the first week of June, likely on a Wednesday, will be significant for the Jeff Group. I'm going to tell you, it's Wednesday, June 4th. My sources have confirmed a PlayStation event. Let's consider what we might expect to see there. I'll tell you. First of all, let's see, surely if there is finally a State of Play this first week of June, which there probably will be, we'll see Death Stranding 2. This game fits perfectly in a PlayStation event because the title is already coming out. It already has a release date, June 25th, the game comes out. So surely a trailer, some more gameplay, or one of those weird videos from Hideo Kojima telling us strange things about his games. But something about Death Stranding will definitely drop. What will also definitely be included in a State of Play right now in June? It's Ghost of Yote, which by the way is the only game from PlayStation Studios that we have confirmed. Definitely for this year. Well, besides Marathon, right? But Marathon, oh my god, Ghost of Yote is definitely coming. What do we still have to see from Ghost of Yote? Well, some gameplay, maybe another story trailer, why not? A roadmap for the game or the collector's edition of the game. It's also about time they show us all of that. The remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 will probably also show up in a State of Play this June because this title is already scheduled for August. It's coming out soon, so it's going to happen. Konami and PlayStation have a partnership, and several trailers for this game have already been shown at PlayStation events, making its appearance pretty much guaranteed. Borderlands 4 also had a recent State of Play event dedicated entirely to the game. So is there some kind of advertising agreement between Gearbox and PlayStation? Borderlands will probably be featured in a State of Play. Another one we might see at the PlayStation event is Tides of Annihilation. I don't know if you remember, this title was introduced very recently. In fact, it was first shown at the PlayStation State of Play in February. A third-person action-adventure video game that brings back the legends of Arthurian myth, meaning everything about King Arthur and all that. A video game that I think was developed in China for a change, but based on English culture. A rather strange thing that we saw for the first time at a PlayStation State of Play, and that we'll probably see again, right? Because besides, last time they gave this game about 6 or 7 minutes, I think, of the State of Play. So, obviously there's a pretty significant advertising contract between these developers and Sony. Zaros, the video game that Housemarque, the developers of Returnal, were working on. Well, it could also be presented because this title should already be halfway done. It should be. Nowadays, it's not exactly known what state the games from PlayStation Studios are in, but maybe this could be its appearance. And we also have Hell Is Us. I don't know if you remember this game. It had a very interesting concept. Basically that of a game with very little guidance, so to speak. A title that won't have a minimap, compass, arrows, or anything like that. It simply wants you to figure out where you have to go by reading the clues and all that. And it puts you in the shoes of a soldier in a futuristic supernatural war who returns to his homeland in search of his parents and finds everything in chaos. Well, Hell Is Us also has a certain amount of PlayStation promotion. It appeared at previous Sony events and could easily show up at the State of Play. That is about to be developed soon. Mainly considering it's a game releasing in September, which is very soon. Do you recall Lost Soul Aside, the Chinese action role-playing game video game? There are many Chinese games that should be included in the State of Play. I'll tell you about the first one now. An action role-playing game like this, in third person, mostly focused on boss battles. It comes from Sony's China Hero project, that Sony project to acquire Chinese games. Well, this title was supposed to come out earlier this year, but it was delayed to August 29th, so it will probably be featured in a State of Play. Phantom Blade Zero, same thing, this title is already ready. In fact, it has a release date for 2025. According to Sony's own store, it should come out this year and it's a timed exclusive for Sony PlayStation 5. So it should be there. At the State of Play, The Ballad of Antara, another game that's scheduled for this year, another Chinese game, also a role-playing game, just another one in the bunch, maybe or maybe not. I don't even know how to judge these games anymore. Well, this is another attempt by Sony to have exclusives without having their own studios make them, something we'll talk about later. It's a game scheduled for release this year, supported by Sony with distribution and various PlayStation features. It should be in a State of Play. Wuchang Fallen Faders, also another Chinese game that also has a promo with Sony because it appeared at several Sony events, so it should be there. In fact, this video game has several gameplay videos and things like that on the official Sony PlayStation channel on YouTube, on the PlayStation Twitter page, and so on. I apologize for not emphasizing each game too much, but we must move quickly as there are many titles to cover and limited time for each one. Anyway, as all these titles come out, I'll keep expanding the information and all that. This one has a release date of July 23rd, supposedly, so there's definitely going to be a trailer. Where Winds Meet, another Chinese role-playing game. I don't know what else, just more stuff. It also has an agreement with PlayStation. It also has a release date for 2025, and it should also appear in a possible State of Play.
Poro, are you forgetting about Marvel's Wolverine? Where is Marvel's Wolverine?
I don't know where it is. I have no idea where Marvel's Wolverine is. And I wouldn't dare risk that the game would show up in a State of Play. As you've witnessed, things are quite chilly or rather lukewarm with PlayStation Studios. Remember that a couple of years ago, Jim Ryan decided that all PlayStation Studios had to develop games as a service. Do you remember? What went wrong? Well, it went wrong, and now many have been cancelled, and many of PlayStation's own studios are delayed. Because they were either developing a live service game, or supporting the development of a live service game, or planning a live service game. They had to stop all of that, and had to start over with other things. So we have a pretty big gap that Sony is trying to fill with Chinese games, which isn't bad. There are a lot of Chinese games that are really good. But of course, it's missed that there are major releases or announcements from Sony's own studios, which are many and very good. What exactly is Insomniac doing? Well, supposedly they're making two games because they were also working on two multiplayer games, one for X-Men and another for Spider-Man, but those were cancelled. But would they be making something new for Spider-Man and the new Wolverine game? I don't expect to see it in this State of Play or at an event at the end of the year. I think that's for later on. Hopefully we'll be surprised. I almost forgot. Marathon, of course. Bungie's Prodigal Son, which is coming on September 23rd. This one will also have gameplay. There's going to be some kind of announcement. My God, this is a shot to the face. I can't understand how Sony doesn't realize this. But it's going to be the same at the State of Play, for sure, because they're trying to sell this no matter what. With so many games, why don't they do a showcase, right? Furthermore, there may be additional unannounced games that we are unaware of, which occasionally surface as phantom announcements. Do you recall the movie Baby Steps featuring the overweight man who walked and then fell down? What happened to that game announced 2 years ago? Some phantom announcement is bound to drop too, for sure. I think there's enough game to make a showcase, but Jeff Groove says he can't risk defining whether it's going to be a showcase or a State of Play. Well, of course, he's already taking a big risk with the June thing and the smoke selling event. Fat guy selling smoke. Stellar Entertainment, the British studio founded by former developers of Criterion Games, known for making the Burnout series, is developing a new AAA arcade racing video game in Unreal Engine 5. Although it hasn't been officially announced, there are indications that PlayStation Studios might be involved as the publisher of this new video game, Arcadoso. And this could be one of those surprise games from Sony for this year. It seems that Sony wants to publish a game from this studio. It's an arcade racing game, which is strange. It's been a long time since Sony published or had an exclusive racing game that wasn't Gran Turismo. But maybe, who knows? Things at PlayStation are currently crazier than when Jim Ryan was already around. And well, anything can happen. Speaking of anything happening. Speaking of leaks and speaking of insiders with PlayStation, the insider Nate the Hate claims that Starfield is coming to PlayStation 5. Another scammer, for God's sake. This man was the same one who said last year that Starfield was coming to PlayStation 5. 2 weeks later, he reversed his stance, citing his sources. We're not reliable. The man who denied it last year now claims it will occur. The insiders can't stand up to scrutiny. No one can stand up to scrutiny. I don't know what it takes to become an insider. Just having a Twitter account and nothing else. They're really disgraceful, honestly. Is there any doubt remaining that Starfield will be released on PlayStation? Does anyone still question it? Forza is here, guys. Forza, Age of Empires. Gears of War's coming, of course. Starfield is coming too. Of course Starfield is coming. That's it. It's clear. It's very clear. Hellblade is coming. 2 now. This isn't the insider. Being the insider means having information that others don't have. But we all have this information. Guys, well, that's it for the state of play topic. I'd like you to tell me in the comments which game would you like to see in the state of play? Which title are you waiting for from PlayStation? Even if you make it up, even if you say another God of War, nobody is waiting for an Atreus game, not even Atreus himself. How I hate him. I really can't stand him. Share in the comments the title you're eagerly anticipating to be announced. Personally, I would like them to announce a Miles Morales 2. What more could we ask for? I really enjoyed Miles Morales, especially the ending. It's a concise Spider-Man game with a very relaxed vibe. Carrie Patel, the director of About, announced that she is leaving Obsidian Entertainment after 12 years at the studio. And the most curious thing about all this is that she's going to a pretty unique place, and that's Netflix Games. And now she's the director of Night School Studios, a property of Netflix since 2021. It seems that Netflix keeps insisting on this, that it wants to make video games. It's not working for you, Netflix. Making games just isn't working for you. Stop messing around. Well, they're going to keep insisting because they have millions. And they took the director of About, who, besides being the director of About, is also partly responsible for the narrative of Pillars of Eternity and The Outer Worlds. She has extensive experience in the field. Good signing by Netflix. Too bad Netflix games always end up being a total failure. And surely this lady won't be able to release even a single game with Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, after many years of uncertainty, it seems that the film adaptation of Gears of War could take shape soon. Apparently, they already have a director, and the director of the movie would be David Leitch, known for his work on action movies like John Wick, Deadpool 2, Bullet Train, among others. So many movies with a lot of action. The man himself is not a director, but rather a second unit director on many action productions and others. But he was the director of John Wick, Deadpool 2, and Bullet Train, the 3 I mentioned. And he did quite well there, and it seems that they're hiring him to make the movie or direct the Gears of War movie. This year, Gears of War E-Day should come out. Well, it should be released. We'll likely learn more at the Xbox event on June 8th. While an exact date is unknown, it's the most logical assumption. Gears of War Reloaded, the 2006 classic remaster, releases in August on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So we're in a great moment for Gears of War. Maybe, why not? They already announced a movie, it's good timing. If the games do well, maybe a movie in 2 or 3 years, huh, maybe? The people at Pearl Abyss, in collaboration with the people at Nvidia, released this spectacular new trailer for Crimson Desert yesterday. A trailer where they not only show off the graphical power of this video game, but also confirm the release date for this year. This video game, for those who haven't been following it, It's a third-person fantasy action role-playing game adventure with a beautiful world and a combat system that really stands out. Without a doubt, this title is going to be one of the most interesting of the year. At last year's Gamescom, I played the game for about 2 hours. And I assure you, the combat system is demanding and quite complex. Now, don't expect the game to look like this on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. This is running on a high-end PC with everything maxed out. By the way, the people at VIA, they said it's going to support 4 DLCs and it's also going to have ray tracing in the game from launch. But why? Just because. A new trailer and confirmed release date for the upcoming Shinobi game have been revealed. It feels surreal to talk about a new Shinobi title. So many years have passed. Well, you're watching the trailer on screen, right? And the release date is August 29th for all platforms. The game is essentially a two-dimensional action-adventure game. No Metroidvania, no roguelike, no weird gimmicks, just a straightforward classic game where you jump sideways and swing your sword. The game is developed by the Streets of Rage 4 creators. And you can tell they really know this graphic style because what they're showing looks amazing. It's gonna be a budget price game, $30. And Limited Run Games is going to release a collectible physical edition with everything. And even a plastic case like the one for the Sega Mega Drive, which is awesome. Okay, these editions are going to cost more than $30, right? Clearly, the base game costs $30. And finally, new gameplay of the upcoming Battlefield was revealed, which was apparently leaked from the game's alpha tests. We're watching it on screen, and honestly, it looks like a lot of fun. The focus is on environmental destruction and quick technical combat. And also maybe on pursuing a certain realism. I say certain realism because these games are never truly realistic. You can't take 3 rifle shots to the chest and keep running as if nothing happened. I mean, there's no real realism, but there's a certain focus on making the destruction realistic. The game is set in a contemporary context, that is, in the present day. It's no longer futuristic or old war like World Wars I or II. It's more like a contemporary conflict. Where and how? I have no idea. And even though there's no official release date, the game is expected to come out between April of next year and the end of next year. Let's see as well. We desperately need the war between Battlefield and Call of Duty to come back. How redundant is that? The war between war games should return. Is air conditioning needed in this studio? Because things are heating up in Mexico. Speaking of things heating up in Mexico, changing the subject. Sunday, May 25th, meet up with subscribers in Guadalajara. We're going to meet at Señor Stone on Avenida Chapultepec at 6 in the evening, Sunday the 25th, now this Sunday. So, if you're from Guadalajara and you wanted to meet me, I don't know why you'd want that. I'll see you Sunday at Señor Stone on Chapultepec. More details in the comments. Ask, and I'll answer you. Let's continue. The Call of Duty versus Battlefield rivalry needs to return for balance. It's good. Plus, Call of Duty has been quite unrealistic recently. And it's good that there's at least another option. Battlefield looks really fun with all the destruction, shooting, and chaos. Hopefully it turns out good. Well, what looks really fun is June. It's coming with everything. Over there we have the PlayStation event, then on the 5th, the Switch launch, then on the 7th, the Summer Game Fest on the 8th, the Xbox event, and we have the PC Gaming Showcase. That horrible event. Oh God, we have a ton of video game events. The Indie Dev Day, the presentation of the Summer Game Fest Latin America. I signed up to officially stream it. With numerous events planned, expect a lot of content. Subscribe to the channel, and if you're already subscribed, turn on the bell below for all notifications. That way, YouTube will notify you about the videos. I truly appreciate your likes, comments, and shares, as we really need them. If you purchase games on Eniba, please use this channel's link, as it supports us. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.